So first off, Berserker got a 1.1% damage increase for everything PvE. So this means that both BT and Mayhem got buffed by this. But Mayhem also got a slight 2% increase to attack and movement speed. Sorry, increase in damage by about 2%, which is kind of whatever. 2% damage and a 1.1% damage. So it's like a 3% ish damage, right? 2 patches in a row they got a buff though. I mean, I don't think that Zerkers are weak, but are they like top tier? No. And will this bring them up to like higher tier? Probably not. They're probably just gonna stay where they are. BT changes, this right here. BT 1.1% damage buff. There you go.
Excuse me for the interruption, but please watch this quick commercial for a podcast coming up on Thursday with Stoops, Revel, and Coddy. Thank you very much.
And Dylan and Armin.
Is there any supports out there?
Boom, I don't give a shit.
Fucking stand still, motherfucker!
Yes, let's fucking go!
Destroyer. So basically, GT got nerfed again. And then all the liberation skills, I think those are probably the spender skills, maybe? Increased by 2.6% in PvE, but GT doesn't care about those. And then they nerfed the amount of PvE damage for GT auto attacks and the Z skill, which again, I don't understand. I don't understand why they did that. 0.01, what was the point? I don't know. Again, we can look at the data, right? We have the data. We can see, is GT crazy overpowered? And let's take a look at the latest content, right? Vescal, where is GT? Right here. Literally third from the bottom, right? Gargaldies, where is GT? Well, GT is the best performing build in Gargaldies. Great. They have one content that they're good at. GT, where is it for here? Below average. Let's not even go to Monkey. Let's go here. Where is GT? Slightly above average for this one. For hard G1. GT, above average for G2. This one, above average for Gate 3. And this one, where's GT? I don't think there's even GT data here. Can I look at the chart? Yeah. GT will be better at Echidna and Behemoth, honestly. I mean, I think it'll be better, you're right. But is it overpowered? I don't know. Because I think that in terms of like fights that are similar to those fights, it's like Theamine, right? And are they that overpowered? I don't think they're that overpowered. They're just kind of like here, right? It's not like they're here. They're here. They're like above average, which, you know, to be honest, like good. They have some content they're good at now. Yeah, every entropy is better. But are they overpowered? I wouldn't say that they're overpowered. So why are they nerfing them when literally they could have probably kept them the same, and I think that they would have probably been fine. Like, it's not that they're overperforming right now. I think the only time you should nerf a class is when it's overperforming. And clearly, it's not overperforming. It's just doing fine. So I don't understand why GT is, getting nerfed. I just think that they shouldn't have nerfed it. Maybe if they were like they want to bring the two engravings closer, buff Rage Hammer instead of nerfing GT. That's how I feel. Being is Trixie though, they're probably popping off there. Maybe. But at the same time, should you nerf an entire class just because of one content? I don't think so. Like that just doesn't make any sense to me. For even if it was like one fight that they're doing well in, let GT have his time to shine. You know what I mean? It ain't up here. It's down here. So that's a big L for GT. And then we have gun Lancer buffs for Red Lancer. Burst Cannon, Charge Stinger, Spear Shot, Dash Upper Fire, Counter Spear. I think that was that. Is that Counter Spear? Counter Gun Lance? I think it's Counter Gun Lance, right? And then Fire Bullet. So basically Red Lancer got buffed. Battlefield Shield, damage increased by 5.1%. Okay, I don't think this is going to make a difference. This is a big buff, though. Paladin, God's Decree. So they used to have a tripod here that gave 30% range. So like the AoE size is 30% larger. This is getting built into the skill, and now they can have push immunity. That is crazy, because one of the biggest reasons why, like, you know, one of the biggest negatives and downsides about this class was the fact that it didn't have push immunity on its DR, but now it does. So it's the best DR in the game, I think, at the moment. Yeah, big winners. And then cooldown increased by 6% with shields released. So they reduced the cooldown on this one, which is also crazy. Attack speed on a Holy Sword, just in general, that's really nice. And then destruction level 1 for Light of Judgment, okay? Pally, big winner. Huge win for this. This is pretty dang big too. Holy. So Brutal Impact Volcano Eruption got 5.8% buff. Bloodlust damage reduced by 3.3%. But these are Punisher's main DPS moves, right? So the Z skill, Brutal Impact, and Volcanic Eruption. They got buffed for these two skills, but their identity, because their Z skill was their biggest hitting skill, right? So overall, if these two got buffed by 5% and this got buffed by nerfed by 3%, I don't know. I feel like it's probably an overall increase. For Punisher, still a win, but you just need to land your Brutal Volcanic as back attack more. So basically, the skill ceiling has increased, but the damage ceiling has also increased slightly. Is that what it is? Punisher overall buff by 0.6, Predator overall buff by 2.3. Okay, so it was an overall buff, but just the skill ceiling itself seems to have gone a little bit higher. So, and then here for this one, it looks like Predator got a slight buff. Concentration attack can be not used with damage rampaging skills increased by, so it's 44% for 4% buff there. Good buff for Predator Slayer. Seems like Punisher got a slight buff as well. Of course, we all know Breaker got a gigantic nerf. Sura Breaker. So, well, this is just Breaker in general, right? PvE for all skills, including Awakening, basic attacks reduced by 1.5%. So BK got a slight nerf here, but Sura got a gigantic nerf. The damage of the basic attack has been decreased by about 11%, and the last hit of Sura, when you finish your Sura Flurry, has been reduced by 20%. An additional 20% on top of this, on top of that. Holy. Is Breaker going to be nerfed to the ground? No. It's still strong as fuck. But is it going to be top tier? Probably not. It'll still be a top tier class, I think, especially if you're playing it well. If you're not playing it well, then it's going to be a struggle. But if you're playing it well, I think you'll still do well. At the moment, right, I think like many people can pilot Breaker to do pretty well. But I think, like, in order to do pretty well, you're going to have to, like, work pretty dang hard to do it now on Breaker, on Sura Breaker. We have Deadeye here. Deadeye's got a damage buff to their pistol skills, 2.3%. Not that crazy, especially, well, one, Pistolier is not really going to benefit from this too much. But two, pistol skills are such a small portion of the EW Deadeye. It's just kind of whatever. Shotgun skill 1.2, slight buff. Damage during skills for rifle skill, slight buff. Just really minor baby buff to EW. And how's DW even doing? I mean, EW is doing pretty well in Thamite Gate 3. I mean, the entropy classes are definitely doing well in Gate 3. But in other content, like, I mean, EW is honestly not doing bad. It's eating pretty well. So a slight small buff, I think, is fine. But does it necessarily? Probably not. Artillerist looks like got slight buff towards FPE is my guess. And looks like Loyal Companion got buffed slightly as well. Let's see, Summoned Hawk damage to enemies increased by 10%-ish. That's not bad. All right. Charge Shot. Okay, 10%. 10%. 10% for quite a few skills. Oh, wow. This one increased by critical. Oh, wow. This seems like I got a pretty decent buff. I don't know if this is going to be enough to... And this is like a 3% buff here. I don't think this is enough to like put Loyal Companion on the board, but I think it's a nice buff. Loyal Companion kind of weak. Scouter also getting a slight buff. Looks like the PvE skills for everything is going to be increased by 2.7%. And then the Evo Scouter engraving is getting buffed as well, in addition to getting slightly reworked, so you don't have to stack up stacks to get max damage. You just get it right off the back, which is very nice. Gunslinger, slight buffs here and there. Shotgun by 3.5, pistol by 4.5, rifle by 2.2. Again, it's nice, but I think the gunslingers are expecting better and more. And like, it kind of feels like, honestly, they don't really understand what's wrong with Gunslinger. I think that a lot of gunslingers are requesting for like changes with, let's say, the engraving to like make it so they're all their guns crit consistently, or like their animation locks are too long or things like that, right? I think that's where most gunslingers are kind of complaining about. Oh, okay, so they're basically saying that DI is stronger than PS. I don't know. It's hard to say. Arcana, Emperor's Edict. Damage of normal skills increased by 5%. Buff. Okay, so 5% buff for Emperor. Interesting. I think Emperor is also doing okay. So Blade, again, Identity got nerfed for Surge. Attack power slightly decreased. Not that bad, to be honest. I definitely think that Blade should have, I don't know, gotten nerfed a little bit more, but that's just kind of my thoughts because they nerfed Sura so much. And then here's the demonic buffs, right? 12% damage during PvE for Blood Massacre and 4.2% damage for this one. And 2.4 across the board and a buff to their Awakening too. That is kind of crazy. I mean, again, I don't think they're going to be an S tier class or anything, or even better than what they are as like a C tier class, but hey, something. Oh, okay. So they're basically saying that DI is stronger than PS. I don't know. It's hard to say. Is because we don't know if they're like completely equal geared, right? Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but which is actually insane, right? If you think about it, because it's easier to do damage on DI than PS in a normal raid situation. So this difference is going to be actually exponential in terms of how people are going to be performing on average in their raids. And then we have Aeromancer. PvP for all skills increased by 4.6. Interesting. Because they also got a buff last patch too, right? So another Aeromancer buff. What's the bug in G2 Kaya? The one where you get hit by the orb blade. It says one of the patterns of absorbing 3 different types of then create an issue where the character would die with a low probability of a trap. Oh, so they fixed the random bug that you get in Kaya. Interesting. That's a good change.